Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me I have some more RPG horror stories. Speaking of RPG horror stories, the emails I'm gonna put a little bit on a back burner. I have a lot to organize, and I want to make sure that's organized by November. Speaking of November, you know what we could do? I was thinking we could have some sort of a Thanksgiving event, like maybe give thanks to the wonderful community we have here on this channel. We get to celebrate Thanksgiving once every year, so might as well make sure we show our appreciation to the wonderful community we build on here. Anyway, let's get some RPG horror stories for today. Two events during my first campaign makes me almost never want to GM again. It's been more than a month since I've cancelled my first homebrew long-form campaign, and I need to get this off my chest due to the stress it's been causing me still. I've talked about this before in other subreddits, but I was always vague and avoided the issue. Had a lot of issues with the campaign, including with my own performance, but looking back, there were two main reasons why I feel so discouraged from picking up TTRPG again. 1. A problem player. I'll call him G. I don't use initials for the same reason other people don't use initials, so we're going with Gangsta. I never used Gangsta before. To run a joke character who was a monk who worshipped the word bruh and used AI images for his character token. That was already difficult for me for several reasons. The lore was heavily religion themed, had to make up excuses of why zealous crusaders would just kill him on the spot, but I decided to brush it off to let him have fun. Second session comes along and I wanted to introduce a guide NPC to assist the group with healing and use character art by Navi Gavi, which was anime-like. Before I could even roleplay, Gangsta laughed non-stop for 5 minutes straight and got to the other players to laugh too. I scrapped the character, said she never existed, and moved on. I also just stopped giving the group any friendly NPCs afterwards. Why did Gangsta laugh at that? Is it because the art? Or actually, is it because of the art? You didn't mention the artist specifically. Was it because of the art? Was it because the NPC did something? I don't know, man. I wouldn't say no to like some sort of supportive NPCs, especially if they're there to provide healing. Not everybody's going to be starting off with some sort of healing capabilities or having health potions on ready and on hand. When somebody wants to play cleric or druid and specifically pick up healing spells to like boost up their healing, that's awesome and that's nice and I love that. There must have been another reason why Gangsta decided to laugh at the NPC, and why did everybody else laugh along as well? Are you playing with a mean party or something? I don't know what's up. 2. One of my players derailed an entire session by choosing to chase after a lead I unintentionally set up. I don't blame them because I look back, I created a compelling hook. I spent the entire session scrambling through my notes, trying to figure out what to do to engage the player as I had to make up content on the spot. Needless to say, I failed. At the end of my session, my brother, I'll call him Alan, yelled at me non-stop for 10 minutes about how bad this session was in front of everyone. It wasn't even constructive criticism considering that he didn't provide any feedback, such as, you could do X instead of Y. It was just, why'd you make us walk around in circles, scolding non-stop. Everyone already knew at that point that the entire session was derailed, considering that the campaign setting was supposed to be an abandoned monastery, and the group chose to chase after rabbits instead. Are you okay? I think you're playing with mean people, honestly. Why didn't anybody stop him? Like, at some point, be like, yo, dude, I get it. Yeah, the DM messed up, but like, don't be so harsh on them. Like, you chased the rabbit. They just acquiesced to your chase. That's all they did. Are you playing with terrible people? I think you're playing with terrible people. I think you're surrounded with terrible people. Are everybody that you're playing with, are they of age? Or are they all like, you know, high school or, God forbid, younger age? Because that's the only thing I can see, is that you're playing with a bunch of immature players that are actually too young to even take anything seriously, and instead of taking things seriously, they're just making fun of stuff or just yelling at you and just having violent teenage-like outbursts. Are you playing with high schoolers or something? Because that's the only thing that would make sense to me. If these are adults, God forbid these are adults, then that'd be a whole other problem. I continued running this campaign for about half a year before I simply stated that I didn't have the energy to continue on. To be honest, what broke the camel's back was being invited to my other brother's Valentine's game, I guess, where I watched his friends play and laugh together with the GM. It broke me to see everyone treat the GM with respect, and to be honest, I cried multiple times the past month just for being mentally worn out. I want to get started with new projects, but every time I think about D&D, this is all I can think about. I think we found your answer. You're playing with a horrible group of people that generally don't care to play with you. And if they're laughing at you, not with you. Like you said, your brother, we just give him Valentine. They're playing with the good people. They're playing, you know, having fun with the GM, and everybody's having a good time and communicating, having a good time. I think what you need to do is just look for good people to play with. Because the other party, yeah, full of buttholes for no reason. Like, why are they yelling and screaming at you? Why is your own brother yelling and screaming at you for 10 minutes in front of everybody, taking up session time? Listen, I think you give it another shot. Maybe ask if you can join Valentine's group for a little bit, just to kind of give yourself a little bit of a break, a little bit of respite. I don't know, trying to figure out what makes for a good group and how to look for good players that aren't just going to be buttholes to you for whatever reason. Vetting players to make sure they're not going to be some a-holes and going to be trying to tear up a campaign or trying to go at you. Somebody who's going to be more, more your style, more your pace. Somebody who's not going to be as intense or aggressive for no reason, just because they just out chase rabbits and you acquiesce to the chasing of the rabbits. You're trying to present people with a fun game, and you want players that also want to acquiesce and actually play that game too. You don't want to play with dickheads. I wish you best of luck, and I hope you find a group to play with, because you deserve better than this. You deserve better than this, and the grass is indeed green on the other side. Your brother Valentine's group is showing you that. Either way, OP, I wish you the best of luck with everything, and I hope you find yourself a proper group that's not going to be barking at you for 10 minutes for, you made us chase rabbits. You want to chase rabbits, idiot. Anyway, next story. Player steals from host. This happened in 2008, I think. Right after school, most of my D&D group disbanded because most people did go to different cities because of work or university. Still play with 2 of my school players because we were only in half an hour up to 1 hour drive distance. The host made a lavish buffet on game night full of food items, drinks, and snacks. We'll agree to give him some money if he chose to take some of it. If you didn't want to share the cost, you have to bring your own food and drink. He did not want to collect money every game in person, so we placed a piggy bank in the kitchen so we could just put the money in there. The piggy bank was never in use. We gave him some money in person, and at the end of the day, he put the money in the piggy bank himself. After some time, an old player wanted to return to the group. He had a long driving way, up to 1 hour and a half, but he really wanted to play again. The old player was complaining about the long drive. As the host explained the buffet concept, the player demanded free food because of his gas cost for the long drive. The host said he doesn't have to take food off, he doesn't want to pay for it. The gas cost was his own because he chose to return to the group of his own free will, knowing about the distance. The old player sulked for the night. After the game, as everyone had left, the host noticed that piggy bank was missing some money. As confronted, the old player admitted to taking the money to cover the gas costs. After the incident, we established an everybody brings his own food and drinks rule, because we had new players regularly and didn't want any more drama because of money. But the buffet was gone too. Man, it only takes one person to ruin a good thing for everybody. I understand if you want to have the whole buffet thing. It feels a little bit strange to do it in-house, but I understand why you'd want to do it. Like, obviously everybody's getting together, and I feel like if everybody wants food and snacks and drinks, everybody should try to pitch in together what they can. Maybe one person orders pizza the first night, then the other, or maybe they pitch in, money together to make sure that everybody has something to eat while you're playing the game. Because nothing is better than playing D&D, but to have some snacks and drinks along with you. The rule of bring your own snacks is probably the best way to do it, since everybody can just, handle their own stuff and bring what they want to bring. But it's really unfortunate what happened with the older player. And taking money for gas money, dude, if you need a gas money, you just have to be like, hey guys, it was a really long drive and I really don't have any gas money. But it's still kind of scummy just to not tell anybody about it. I get money is tight sometimes, and yeah, 2008, I'm pretty sure they had pretty high gas prices. I don't remember. I know gas prices now are pretty high. But still, like, it's not a good reason to just steal from people that you're playing games with. Especially if they're supposed to be your friends. Don't steal from your friends, guys. It's fucked up. Don't do that. Anyway, not much of the story. They kind of resolved it themselves. But, I mean, still, you could see how one person could just spoil the entire event. Either way, let's get to the next story for today. King of the Gods. The time the DM became a player who would not accept no as an answer for his character's backstory. TLDR, at the end, the campaign I was going to DM didn't end up happening due to changes in everyone's schedules, but my interaction with him involved his character creation was unlike any I've ever heard of. We've been told no by the DMs from one reason or another about our PCs can be a certain race or class, or a certain backstory, and usually pertains to the PC not matching the world and or story setting. The DM of this story, we'll call Sierra, has been the DM for our group for at least 4 years. And for multiple campaigns, and for the record, he's not a bad guy, but this interaction led to my breaking point. He has required changes to my character ideas or declined races or classes as to why they wouldn't work in the setting. There were times I'd try and work out a compromise, but most of the time it didn't work. You'd think he'd have understood the change in the characters' backgrounds were normal, right? Wrong. It's kind of a two-way street. There are moments where sometimes players may ask for too much, but also there's times where, and I experienced it myself, where DMs ask you to not include certain things, but apparently those rules aren't allowed for other people. Here's an example. I told a bit more about in my RPG horror story. Let's say, for example, me, Morrow, right? There were some rules that I had in the old Discord server that I left by now, but there were some rules that I couldn't do. I couldn't be a noble, of noble background or lineage. I couldn't be a shard of a god. It makes more sense later on, don't worry, believe you me. I couldn't be half angel. Yeah, understandable. I don't want to be an all-powered entity anyways. And I couldn't also be originated from the island, and also couldn't be part of some sort of great lineage family with high powerful magic. So makes sense, right? Yeah, I couldn't be overpowered, and I'm totally cool with that. But some people were able to be specifically part of the nobility, a half angel that could transform from a wizard to an angel paladin on a whim, a shard of a literal god, a part of the lore for the island we're on, and also be part of a great magical lineage that they could have overpowered powers in. So I guess rules for me, but not for the special thee. If the DM liked you or wanted to sleep with you, then yeah, they'll allow you all kinds of weird things. When he shared his character backstory with me, I had to reread it a couple of times to make sure I understood what he was asking. He wanted his character to be the king of the gods, who was used as bait by the other gods, because they didn't like his chaotic evil nature, to capture and seal Ravagud using his divine power to power the seal. The only god that didn't want to betray him was Asmodeus. Asmodeus has hidden a plan, contact to seal Ravagud that he, Asmodeus, was allowed to switch the source of power for the seal in the future. He switched the character with Aroden, who was the mortal turned god, and his return was supposed to start a new golden era for mortals. Now he seeks to regain his throne. I like it when people think big for their character ideas, but this would absolutely take over the campaign at some point, especially if I allowed him to get even a fraction of his powers back as a god. Damn, the guy's even writing out the whole plot point for the entire campaign before he can hear the campaign pitch. Damn, his best friend is Asmodeus as well, that helps him out. He's a homie. Damn, he has connections. Not only is he not just a god, but a king of gods, and has Asmodeus in his back pocket to roleplay with. Damn. This seems a little bit overpowered and ridiculous. It depends on the game you're playing, right? This could be okay with certain limits, but in 99% of the games, being a used to be god, or no, not just used to be god, but a king of gods, sounds like a perfect setup for the player to specifically ask the DM, hey, could I get some of my god powers again to just be immortal and do all kind of overpowered stuff? I promise it's not too much. Anyway, let's see how the DM handles this situation. The following conversation was between us via messaging. Okay, for your backstory, I'll allow your character to be a god of chaos, but it can't be the king of all gods. Okay, may I ask why not? It will have a massive effect on the story later on, I feel, so I'd rather not go down that road. My character would no longer have his god powers that he had when he tried to bring down the others, and they're already gods of chaos. I see. Still, I'll allow a god of chaos. Okay, I thought it'd be more interesting to see character reaction on there being information that the god themselves once had a king, and would explain how they captured Ravagud, because there's no info on it. An ordinary god wouldn't have survived being trapped with Ravagud. It's already interesting that there's a god in the group, just not sure if it would make sense on how he survived. I've made my decision. Okay, probably end up making something else. He did, but only got worse. Never mind, I can work with it. Instead of Chaos God, I created free will. I could just be a god that kills other gods to bring balance. God that kills other gods to bring balance. Oh yeah, that's better than a king of gods. If you have god-slaying powers that you can recover in a campaign, then you're overpowered. I can slay gods with a single pinky finger. DM, let me do it, DM. Boop. God is dead. He created Ravagud to help kill the gods because there are too many divine beings. He was sealed with Ravagud. Asmodeus later switched to my god with Aroden because Asmodeus was chosen to be one of the few gods that would be left alive and would be able to grow his power with less gods in a way. Now he is trying to gain power to kill the other gods. If you aren't familiar with Ravagud, here's a quick summary. He's a god-killing, planet-consuming monster. Oh, I was about to ask, but who is Aroden? I don't know Aroden. So I'm gonna veto that. Again, way too OP. I'm immortal, how's that OP? Again, have a massive effect on the story later on, I feel, so I'd rather not go down that road. It could be a previous god, but not one that's beyond ultra powerful. Backstory just for roleplay. I didn't get any benefits from it. He also wouldn't be going around saying he's a god because the other gods will come to kill or steal him again. Again, I said no. He could be a god, just not that ultra powerful. That makes no sense. What is considered powerful? No. Period. What is considered powerful? No. He said a god is good, but I need you to tell me what is considered powerful. Not one that's strong to create a planet-eating monster that took out a whole bunch of other gods that stood in its way. A god of chaos that caused problems is acceptable. That's what he would be like. I said he wouldn't have any of his powers anymore, so he would be doing stuff to destroy the gods. I am aware. And I'm thinking it would not work in the long run. The answer is no, and I'm not allowing it. I don't know why my character can't be a previous god. I'm sure we can come up with something. He's level 1. No, I'm aware of this. Seriously, just accept it and drop it. What I'm saying is he can't be a god if he's level 1 without something big happening. I know. We can work something out. We have more than enough time to work something out. To his credit, he didn't make a character with an acceptable background, but the entire interaction was infuriating because I also felt like I was being talked down to. But that could have just been a personal thing. I would appreciate feedback about this conversation, and if I could have done more to improvise, I could have responded better. One solution for you, DM, and it's a very simple one. No gods. Part of your backstory, you just can't be a god. If it's too complicated and too complex to do, then no gods. If a player wants to be a reincarnation of physical manifestation of a god, right? Like, that would be one thing, sure. Because it just physically you look like one of the gods or in God's image, but you don't actually have any, part of the god's powers. You just ended up born to look like a god, but you're not actually a god. And that in itself could be a really awesome story of somebody that's, actually ordinary, that is treated as this, godly reincarnation, and maybe even has a cult around it, have a whole cult plan that's trying to use it to, maybe sacrifice them to appease their gods or appease the opposing gods or something like that. That could be a really cool thing, but having your character be a god to not be level 1, it just wouldn't work, because it's just a great excuse for a player just to cherry pick things like, oh, but he was a god, so you would have this, and you have that, and this magic item, and summon celestial steeds, and summon great world-ending calamities. I don't know, man, it's just such a slippery slope. Leave gods as they are. Don't let your player characters be gods. That's what I would recommend. Simple rule, no gods. You could be anything you want, just not a god. Simple as that. Also, no devils. No great devils. Yeah, that's another good one too. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.